afternoon. This is Ryan Dohrn from Brain Swell Media, and we're working on number 2 of our 4-part series, Selling Integrated Media Digital Sales, and what you can do to beef up your digital sales all across the board. So today we're going to be talking about e-newsletters, and we all know that they're great. So we're going to talk about selling them better. We're going to go through some really great statistics today, and we're also going to show you some examples. We're going to talk through some scenarios, and we're going to also talk about some advertiser objections that you're running into if you're already selling your e-newsletters. We're going to talk about email address acquisition, and talk about a few other things as well. So I think overall this is going to be a great session for everybody. So let's get started. The thing, selling email is that it really is dependent. Your success in terms of your revenue is really dependent on how many email addresses that you have. But the bigger question overall is, I really believe that advertisers truly don't understand how valuable email addresses are. It's kind of strange and interesting all at the same time that we have an email address, and yet we feel that our email addresses are valuable, but yet advertisers, oftentimes I think that they really feel like, well, why should I pay as much as you're looking to reach out to your potential people on your email list, your readers? And I kind of handle that objection and kind of walk people through is that email is by far one of the most captive audiences, and it's so close to the point of purchase. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Emails are like currency on the internet. And you see so much happening with spammers and people using email addresses to spam people because email works. If email didn't work, spammers would be out of business. I mean, think about that. If an advertiser ever says to you, I don't think email works. If email doesn't work, then spammers would be out of business, quite honestly. Emails work because, especially if it's permission-based email, it really works really, really well. Keys, though, to your advertisers are this. You really need to know how many email addresses you have of your competitors. We're in a very competitive landscape, right now, as we're magazine to magazine, website to website. And you have to have a differentiating factor. I mean, really, what makes you different from your competitors? A lot of coaching with salespeople that are veterans, really good salespeople, they're brilliant at differentiating why their magazine is different than the competition. When it comes to, e-newsletters and advertising, they're just good at differentiating those. And why is that? It's because they're just not as used to selling online, and that's why we're here today. So what you really need to do is learn how many email addresses you have versus your competition. If it's more, you need to sell it. You need to tout it. Or you need to have some facts to prove it. Now, what I like to do is I like to use one-sheets, and those of you that have been through classes with me before, you know how much I believe in one-sheets. The reason one-sheets is they're simple. It's easy to convey a point in one sheet. When you start getting into multiple sheets of paper in presentations, multiple slides, etc., it's as if you feel like you need to tell them more. Advertisers overall will grasp it if you can explain it and display it in a way that makes sense to them. So if you have to prove it. If you don't, then you need to sell your audience. In working with publishers, I will find out that they truly only have half of the email addresses that they're. In that case, then you need to sell your audience. Let's be honest here. People don't just happen to buy your website for a reason anymore. They just don't. The whole days of people just surfing the internet doesn't happen. Don't just sit down and say, okay, where am I going to go today? People come to the internet. They come to the internet with a purpose. They're there to do something. Maybe it's checking email. Maybe it's researching. Maybe it's going on Facebook to see what's going on with their friends, which is considered, in my opinion, sort of entertainment. But does someone sit in front of the keyboard and go, okay, where are you going to go today? Okay? Go to Google and then make a search, and hopefully you're found for that. Well, when it comes to email, people, get email for a reason. And with email, it's usually because it's something that's topically related to them, maybe a hobby, a personal interest, etc. So you need to tell your audience. Now, do not have to have 5,000 emails to be a success when selling e-newsletters. You just don't. E-newsletters are very, very targeted, and this is why they work. They work targeted. They work because of the niche. If you don't have a lot of email addresses, then quite honestly what you need to do is you need to see your audience. And I will tell you right now that most advertising salespeople are great at selling their print audience, not so great at selling the e-newsletter audience. Now, you may say, Ryan, I don't have statistics. Well, I would say you need to get them. I mean, you just do. Here's the interesting thing. It is likely that your demographic the demographic of the reader of your print magazine, the demographic reader of your website, and the demographic reader of your e-newsletter are probably the same. But don't assume that they're the same person. They're demographic, but perhaps they are completely different people. Some people print. Some people like the web. Some people sign up for e-newsletters. Very likely it's going to be the exact same person. So what does that mean? That means you're looking at an expanded audience. So say to your advertisers, we have a great print magazine. It's our bread and butter. People love it. But we have an expanded audience now. We've got through our website. And we've got even further expanded audience through our e-newsletters. So if you don't have 5, 10, 15,000 email subscribers, that's okay. You need to focus in on your audience. Now, how many email addresses do you have to have, and what does that mean to an advertiser? The keyness that we just began to talk about is you really need to know your demographic, really need to spend some time. Now, I would say that most reps say they know the demographic, but those reps, sales reps, most of them don't. Believe that they understand, but they really, really don't. So how do we correct that? Spend some time with statistics. You know your traffic is probably going to be very similar. Spend some time with your web statistics. Find out when people are accessing the internet. Ask your users. Talk to your advertisers. Find out about your readers. Spend time talking to people at events that read your magazine. Hey, magazine. Cool. Well, great newsletter. Cool. Great. When do you read it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you hate? What do you love? Find out more about it, because when you're talking to a prospect, a prospective advertiser, you want to be able to say to them, just the other day I met, John Smith. And John reads our e-newsletter weekly. He loves it. And here's the reasons why. You need to be relatable if you want to be a success in selling e-newsletters. E-newsletters are not a throwaway. They're not an extra. They're not an add-on. E-newsletters are powerful business. Most successful magazines will hear more. Just a fact. So if you only have one e-newsletter, you're missing out. And we're not going to talk in detail about how many you should have, but I would tell you that most successful magazines have about 3. Now, you have surveys. When you do a survey each year, you do a readership survey every couple of years, right? It frustrates the tar out of me when publishers do readership surveys and don't include any online questions. For goodness sakes, include some online questions so that your reps have more information to sell from. Okay. And the other thing that we mentioned here, and you'll see it on the slide, find and deliver personal examples. That means a couple things. One, talk to advertisers and find out if they've had great success, and then they make note of it so you can use it when talking to potential prospects. The other thing is talk to readers and find out, like I said, what they like or don't like, share, those examples. Now, moving on to this next slide, how many addresses you have and what does that mean to the advertiser. The very important key point that I want to make sure that we really drill home today is that email brings a user close to a point of purchase. You might say, I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. Okay, let's talk about billboards for a second. On the road and you see a billboard, and it's call now. Well, it used to be that you'd have to wait till you got home, right, before you could call. So that's why billboards were so bad. Well, now people have cell phones, so they can call now. It's interesting to me, though, that people put their address on a billboard. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but it's interesting to me because you're so far away from being to be at your computer that it really requires you to have a very simple email address or a web address so that people will remember it when they get home. And so the reason for you to understand this point is email is very close to the point of purchase. The point of purchase for most people is going to be their website, right? Where they're going to get information, they're going to make a purchase. So email is awesome because you're only one click away from potential acquisition. That's why advertiser that says, well, I do billboards. Wow. Okay, billboards, they have their place, media, but the reason there's not as many billboards as there once was because billboards have proven to be less effective for certain types of advertising. A long ways from the point of purchase. Quite honestly, the people that benefit from billboards are who? Like Cracker Barrel, turn at the next light, McDonald's, Cracker Barrel, get off at the next exit for great food. That's the people that really benefit, from billboard advertising. Advertiser, what's their benefit going to be? Well, we want to, in the e-newsletter, there's a clear call to action from their advertisement. We need them to, if they want people to click, there's got to be a great call to action in that ad that's in the e-newsletter. Then they're just one click away. Okay? It's a very important distinction to point out that e-newsletters are not just things that people read. Use them to interact with. And we've got some statistics later on in this presentation that you better understand that. Now, in knowing this, the messages have to be very specific from the advertiser. Very specific. No longer can you offer free shipping and think to draw in an audience. It's just not. It's just not. But bad advertising will kill results in an e-newsletter. I mean in a bad way. Dead. Really. So bad creative will kill advertising in an e-newsletter. So if you get bad creative from an advertiser, what should you do? To encourage people to do is call that account and say, based upon things that we've done in the past and things that we've seen in the past, I just don't think the creative, the ad that you supplied to us is going to work. And I know that you need a lot of results, a lot of clicks to ad buy worthwhile. I really think you should change the creative. They may know. We're going to run as is. I like it. If that's the case and the results come back and it's bad, I wouldn't call them and say, I told you so, because they probably figured you might already do that. What I would do is I'd encourage you next time to say, hey, we really tried that creative last time. It didn't work. Let's do something different. But before we leave this slide, it's very important that you distinguish and point out to advertisers one of the biggest, most important parts of email and email campaigns. It brings readers, users very close to the point of purchase. It's the closest thing that you can get from a media company. Print, you have to take the magazine to the computer. So you have to drive home to use the computer. An e-newsletter, one click. It's one click away. And it's an important distinguishing fact that most sales reps forget to talk about. Now, one of the things that is often a wrong assumption by your advertisers, as we move to this next slide, the importance of your advertisers and what they often assume that is wrong. Many advertisers will simply think you're just asking them for more money. E-newsletters are just another way for you to get another dollar from them. they're right. But truly what you're trying to do is you want to expand the return on investment for the advertiser. You want to give them as many possible opportunities to retouch a new customer. The beauty of an e-newsletter. It's one more opportunity for you to sell and to push out that product or service to potential advertiser. Another assumption, email is the same demographic as the audience, same demographic as the magazine. Most of my experiences, over the course of the last few years, is that it is the demographic, but it can be a uniquely different audience. How do you find that out? Through surveys and things like that. A lot of wrong misconception, wrong assumption. Email is all spam. All spam. Spam is very clearly defined. Spam is when you receive an email from somebody that you don't know that's trying to sell products that you don't want, you've not given permission to find out more about. When you don't have a business relationship with somebody and you get an email from them, that's spam. It just is. You've got to be careful. Some of you might be listening from the state of California. California has very, very specific requirements when it comes to sending emails. So if you're from the state of California, you very much might want to check into that. Those rules vary by state. The other thing about spam is that spam is completely unsolicited. So if someone has signed up for an e-newsletter list from your website, it means that you have permission to send them an email. Now, you want to be judicious, ethical, etc. with the emails you send. You don't want to send a bunch of junk, because you're going to unsubscribe. Another wrong assumption is that users do not click and do not open email. The reason that you have to be very careful about judging the success of an e-newsletter campaign based upon the open rate. You use Microsoft Outlook. Well, if you do, Microsoft Outlook has an open preview pane, at the bottom of your email. So all your email comes in on top, and you have this preview pane on the bottom. I know I can see it on my Mac, on Entourage, etc. What you really be careful of is that, and understand that if it reads an email above in the preview, and a preview shows down below, that doesn't count as an open in the email. It doesn't count as an open. If someone clicks within that preview, then that will count as a click. But people read stuff in preview mode all of the time. I'm talking all of the time. They read it in preview mode. So it's important for you to understand that that happens. So the open rate really is the only gauge of success of an e-newsletter campaign. The click-through rate, the CTR, the click-through rate is only one way to prove the success of a campaign, email campaign, just like banner advertising. It's about, okay, what did the advertiser want you to do for them? Did they want clicks? Did they want branding? Did they want name recognition? What do they want? So the campaign is all said and done, and they say to you, hey, it didn't work. Well, you're able to look back on what they told you, and you said, well, you wanted it to go out to 50,000 people. It did. It was by half of those people. Well, you had more clicks. Well, you did tell us that you wanted more clicks, because if you had, then what we would have told you is the ad that you have right here is not gonna work. This is a branding ad. So based on our last phone call together, our last session together, make sure you ask in advance what kind of results does that advertiser want. Okay, and branding as a call to action. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So you need to from your advertiser, what is it that you want? What do you want from this campaign and from this e-newsletter? And then do your best to deliver on it. It's really important. Now, this is in permission-based email. I'm going to share some statistics with you. And I know a lot of times statistics can get to be kind of boring. The reason I want to share these stats with you is I'd really encourage you to use these in the newsletters that you send out to your prospective advertisers. Also, the sales reps on the call today, the sales reps that are listening in and watching and learning today, these are statistics that you need to know. Because if you get a situation where a prospect just doesn't believe you, you need some ammunition. And here it is. Newsletter stats for success. 56% of recipients of permission-based email, so that's people that have signed up to your e-newsletter, are more likely to make purchases from the sender. Interesting. 52% say they had a more favorable opinion of the company that sent them email because of the communications they received. Interesting. Epsilon and ROI research study called Beyond the Click, the Indirect Value of Email. Another stat, 48% of respondents reported feeling more loyal toward the product as a result of receiving permission-based emails. So seeing these emails, seeing advertisers involved in these emails are feeling good about those products. It's interesting, isn't it? 63% of those who receive permission-based email from retail companies say they want to receive personalized content based on their website activity and past purchases. 8% reported downloading or printing coupons. That's interesting. Very interesting. 7% clicked a link in an email to learn more about a product, service, or a promotion. And they're saying, okay, this is all about retail, right? Well, here's the thing. Let's just say these numbers are completely wrong, and you don't believe them, cut in half. That is almost over 30% clicked a link in an email to learn more about a particular product or service or promotion. Those are so big and so staggering that they're great to be able to use in sales literature. Next statistic on the next page, 75% of respondents reporting purchasing a product online as a result of permission-based email. 75% of respondents reported purchasing a product online as a result of permission-based email. Come on! It's huge. Reported purchasing a product offline. So they got, and then they went to the restaurant, or they went to the store and they bought a product. Percent said they liked receiving email from companies they had registered with. 84% felt great. Now, what happened to the other 20-some percent, 18, 19%? But 84%, which is huge. I mean, let's be honest. Is that not a huge number? Ratio is a small number. It's a huge number. Come on. More than half saved the messages for later review, with even more likely to save their messages 60% over mails. They saved their emails? Really? See, this kind of it's very, very interesting to me. It's interesting to you because it shows you that email is powerful. Permission-based email is powerful. What are you to sell it better? What are you doing to leverage it to your advertisers? This is good stuff, people. Good goods. I love these statistics. How do e-newsletters affect return on investment, ROI, for your advertisers? It's kind of funny. I go to conference, and somebody said, "Oh, ROI, that's the new buzzword, huh?" That's the new buzzword? Advertisers have been asking for return on their investment in advertising since the beginning of print, since the beginning of TV, radio, all media, since the beginning of media. Advertisers wanted return on investment. So advertisers, when it comes to emails, are this: the frequency and the increase of the touch points. Have you talked effectively to your advertisers? Perhaps you show them a visual of how big your audience is. We all know that you need to touch or show your product, ad, service to a person between 6 and 10 times before they will make an action. That print's not enough. Radio's not enough. TV's not enough. You need the web. You need an integrated buy. You need e-newsletters. You need direct mail. You need all of these forms of media. They're part of our magical mix. You need them all. You need to be able to reach advertisers more often. Advertisers need to be able to reach their prospects more often. That's the point that needs to be made. E-news, date specific, time specific. They have an immediate impact. So it's a print deadline. Get them in an e-newsletter. Why are you waiting for till next month? Get them in an e-newsletter. Sell them into one of your 4 or 5 e-newsletters that you have rolling. There is a different reader to the e-newsletters, and you can prove it, right, with your statistics. So out to the advertiser. It's a good way for advertisers to test new marketing ideas. Because, it's going to be more expensive. E-newsletters allows them to be able to go in and do marketing on products, services, offerings, buy one, get one free, etc. type stuff. And e-newsletters are great for lead generation. The ability for you to bring people to the website is excellent, just absolutely excellent. And these are 5 points, or 5 points that you need to have in the back of your head to point out to advertisers. If you don't create a cheat sheet, create an index card when you're sale, so that you don't forget to point these things out. These are things that you would assume the advertiser knows about. Your mother told you what happens when you assume, right? Don't assume. Assume advertisers know what you're talking about. You're assuming wrong. Trust me. You deal with that every day. I guarantee some of them might be similar. They assume wrong. You need to point out what's the difference is. Now, next thing we'll talk about is a really cool concept called press releases to cash. Get press releases right into our editorial department, and then, there's no room in the magazine, and some of you may not even ever run press releases. There's for these press releases in the magazine. So what do? They push them over to the web people, and the web people have a press release section of the website. As a press release, I look at as a press release as a money machine, a money-making machine. Here's what we do at all the magazines I work with. Comes in and the editorial team decides if they're going to use it or not, they send it over to the sales team. The sales team then has a designated person that calls the person with the press release. Hi, Barb Smith, please. Barb, I saw that you sent out a press release for your new, Slice-O-Matic, Slicer Dicer, and you wanted to have it written up in such and such magazine. Yeah. Is there any chance that we can get editorial in the magazine? She says. Your answer is, well, unfortunately, we've already gone to press. But we do have an e-newsletter we can send this out in. But we specialize at e-newsletter, and we charge to be a part of it. But it's a very nominal fee. It's only like $250, and we can send it out this afternoon. Really great. Now, they may say, well, we don't have any budget. Well, if they don't have any budget at all and they're just looking for free advertising, it's been a waste of what? A minute phone call, if that. In most cases, they'll say, well, that's too bad. How many e-newsletters readers do you have? We have 6,500. So it could go in front of 6,500 people today or tomorrow with your message that you can help us tailor and customize for $250. As a matter of fact, we've got 3 other people that are already in the e-newsletter this month. And they are not competitors of yours. I think it'd be a great fit. What do you think? Can I send you over? I'm going to send you over this form so you can get it all filled out and signed up, and let's get rolling. $250 with math. At least 30 press releases a month. Let's say that you can convert, let's just say 6 of them, and let's charge $250 for it. That's another $1,500 a month. That's me. called press to cash. Nobody does it. Hardly anybody does it. At our publishing companies that we work with, because it works. It's great. And they'll always phone call. Why? Because they're looking for free press. They might push you off to another person within the organization, but the person that press release came from, a lot of times take your call, especially when you say you're calling from a magazine, because they're hoping you're going to give them free press. Now, let's talk about how e-newsletters affect return on investment very specifically. Here's a statistic and a quote from the Direct Marketing Association. I think it's powerful. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Email produced the highest response rate for those companies whose primary objective was to generate leads. Produced the highest response rate. That means in comparison to all of media, email response rate. That's where the statistic came from. Isn't it powerful? Just want to get on the phone right now and share it with one of your advertisers. From Epsilon, the research study we showed you a little bit ago, a quote, 44% of respondents in a consumer survey said that email from financial services companies made them feel more loyal towards the companies and their products. Just another example of how getting email for you, a magazine owner, a magazine publisher, makes them loyal towards you. Just another example. Great statistic if someone says to you, we're doing social media now. Which, I mean, that's pretty common these days. I hear that from people. Oh, we're just doing social media. We're not doing any print, web, or anything else. This statistic, it's Exact Target, which is one of the largest email service providers in the country. They did a profile called Subscribers, Fans, and Followers in 2010, the social profile. Check this out. U.S. Internet users engage with an average of 11.8 brands via email, 9.4 brands via Facebook, and 7.9 brands via Twitter. That means that people engage with advertising at a higher rate in regards to email than Facebook or Twitter. I love that statistic. It tells what? Email is still viable. Now, you've got people saying, well, when I communicate with my friends, I communicate with them on Facebook. Well, you know what? I can see that from a perspective of maybe a 20-year-old, but not when it comes to business communications. When it comes to business communications, people use what? Email. Very rarely. If you're using Facebook to communicate business ideas, well, maybe that's for a different discussion. Some of you are B2B magazines, and here's a cool statistics to look at. Business-to-business publications, e-newsletters on a national average. The non-bounce rate is 96%. So that means 96% are not bouncing. So that's great. The open rate is 18.7%. That's a lot. 20% of people are opening those emails. Remember, it could have 150% rather opening them. You don't know it because they're reading that email in the preview pane. The click-through is 5.7%. The national average is 0.25. So what is that? I mean, like 9 or 10 times the national average for newsletters? You people in the B2B space, this is a number right here to be proud of. I'd take that one to the bank. In the case, which I kind of call B2C, which is kind of funny, it's just consumer magazines, 7% go through. So very 16.6%. It's not terribly high, but we know a lot of people, right, don't open the email. They read it in the preview pane. Sometimes on your BlackBerry or on your iPhone without opening it. They click 0.9%, less than the B2B rate, but still, way higher than the national average. Way higher than the national average. So statistics are great things for you to be able to put into your, kit to be able to sell off of. Let's final thoughts here on this session today. Important for you to understand the following things. Pass these on to your sales team or share this presentation with others. E-newsletters work in the world of niche magazines. They just do. Period. I have not come across even one occasion where e-newsletters did not work in the niche space. You can put advertisers into those e-newsletters, and it really will work. You need to know your audience well. You know your audience, you need to get to know them. You need to get intimate and understand what it is they do when they read email, how they engage on email. Get to know these things, people, so that you can help your advertisers make an informed decision. So, final thoughts. Be clients. You've been them for a long time because email is not a new technology. Flash It's not a new technology. Guys, that's coming on the horizon that you don't even know about yet, you're going to have to teach your advertisers big time. So get used to it. Yeah. Final thoughts. The concept of touch points is mission critical for ROI success. Touch points, your ability to help an advertiser reach a potential person and touch them on the shoulder and get their attention. Important. TV is a touch point. Radio is a touch point. eNewsletters are a touch point. Email is a touch point. The website is a touch point. How many of those touch points can you buy to an advertiser? Can you really be a one-stop shop? Good, because that means in this space. Take that means something to you and add them to your pitch. You've got to use them. Here's what people become guilty of paralysis by analysis. They don't do things because they analyze it. Don't do that. Fundamental things. Email works. It's great in the world of niche. Your people need eNewsletters. You've got some that you can sell, so do it. Those eNewsletters and sell them better. Today, and you look at these statistics, and you know very easily that it's very important that you know all these things inside and out. And this is just one session of the 4 we're going to work on selling integrated media even better. For you today, my name is Ryan Dohrn. I'm thrilled to be able to teach these classes and really think that you're going to learn a lot in our next 2 sessions as well that are coming up. And if you missed the first one, then contact the folks at Shweiki Media, and they'll be able to get you the link to that as well. Emails are great. So people, let's get out there and sell them even better. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, ryan@brainswellmedia.com. The phone number here at the office, 803-867-3769. You can, of course, reach us via our website, brainswellmedia.com. Do not hesitate to send me a personal email. I have a great relationship with Shweiki Media, and I'm thrilled to be a partner in this teaching series of integrated sales success. Until next time, we'll see you around, and good luck selling.